So it's been a minute since we've covered anything on the channel talking about the production of the Railroads Online soundtrack Volume 2, and I figured we'd get back into that with a cool topic that we haven't really covered yet, and that's playing traditional pieces. If you're new to the channel, one of the big series that I've been doing is actually talking about how I'm producing the soundtrack for Railroads Online. The game came out back in October, and it's got the first volume of the soundtrack within it, but it wasn't quite as long as I wanted it to be, so we're adding a couple more tunes, and I'm kind of showing the process of how we do it along the way. So if you haven't seen any of those videos, make sure you go check them out. One of the cool things about working with the Railroads Online dev team is that there's so much passion for history and the era that these steam locomotives operated in. So the other devs know a bunch of these wonderful old traditional pieces from American history by name and by melody, and they know the lyrics just off the top of their heads. So these songs aren't terribly familiar to me because I'm a rock and roll guy, and maybe I've heard them before, maybe they were in an older Railroad Tycoon type game as part of one of those soundtracks. So, you know, some of them I've heard, but I couldn't tell you what the names of the songs were, so it's great to work with these guys who can pull out this catalog of tunes and be like, oh, we should do this one, we should do this one, and we should do this one. And it's also cool that I get to collaborate with one of the other devs on this as well. For the first volume of the Railroads Online soundtrack, one of our 3D modelers, Peyton Smith, played banjo on Amazing Grace. It was his idea to do that song, and he's been the one that's kind of been providing me with a lot of great ideas as far as traditional pieces go. So it's cool to be able to play music with someone long distance like that, where we can share recordings and put a cool song together.
So this is a Discord interview with Peyton Smith. He's on the right. So Peyton, how long have you been playing the banjo, and what got you into playing the banjo and these kind of traditional pieces?
Been playing the 5-string banjo for about 4 years now, but only in my free time. The thing that first got me into playing banjo was listening to old recordings of Earl Scruggs in the 40s and the 50s in his heyday, and additionally listening to a number of Civil War reenactment music groups.
So it's cool that you had the Civil War period tie-in already. What got you into traditional music and bluegrass type music?
I always learned a few of the iconic tunes because my mother was a music teacher. So from a very young age, I had a love for simple music. And as I grew older and was able to go and explore music without having my hand held the whole time, I just gravitated towards it.
So it's wonderful when you kind of get to that point where you can get into different kinds of music and really learn a genre and enjoy all that. So knowing that, what makes playing traditional pieces on the banjo special to you?
It's a simple kind of music. It doesn't need to be complex. It doesn't have to be bluegrass. It can be clawhammer. It can be melodic. It can be any spectrum you want it to be. It's a beautifully varied instrument while also not being a guitar. As for what I find most appealing about it, I love picking out tunes by ear. The auditory puzzle is just satisfying to complete. And every time you come up with an arrangement by ear, it's something slightly new and slightly unique. And you feel proud because you've picked out something that someone has already written, but you picked out your own version of that song.
Yeah, that's one of the wonderful things that always gets lost about music, particularly in this day and age, is that music is oral history. Stories got passed down, so did songs, and everyone throughout the years would add their own little bits or take different bits away or do new arrangements. So it was really all about stealing people's music and moving on. So it's always funny to me when people talk about the copyright of music or Led Zeppelin stole this song or whatever, because that's just the tradition of music. That's how music gets created, and it's really special. So it's cool to play these pieces like that. So thanks for your time, Peyton.
You're welcome. It's been an absolute pleasure.
The song that we're going to be playing today is a song called The Battle Hymn of the Republic by Julia Ward Howe. It was originally written in the early 1860s, which also coincidentally means that it's not subject to copyright, so we can cover it without any problems, which is one of the reasons why there haven't been terribly many songs from, you know, post-1940 in the soundtrack. So anyways, I'm gonna cut right to it, and here's the song for you guys. So that's it for this week. I hope you guys enjoyed the song, and I hope you guys have been enjoying this series covering the development of the Railroads Online soundtrack. As always, give the video a like, give us a subscribe, and we'll see you next time. Thanks.